Soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you.
President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a closely watched summit in Anchorage, Alaska, their first face-to-face meeting since Trump returned to the White House. The talks, which lasted nearly 3 hours, were dominated by the war in Ukraine. Trump described the conversation as very productive, but made clear that no final agreement has been reached. Putin was welcomed with a level of ceremony few expected. A red carpet was rolled out at the U.S. military base, American jets carried out a flyover, and the Russian president was even driven alongside Trump in the presidential limousine. For Putin, this was his first official visit to a Western country since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. The setting underlined how unusual and symbolic the moment was. Behind closed doors, the two leaders discussed proposals aimed at ending the war. According to U.S. officials, those talks included the question of territorial arrangements and possible security guarantees for Ukraine. Trump said progress was made, but he stopped short of offering specifics, insisting that any deal would require the approval of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and consultation with America's NATO allies. His words were, "There's no deal until there's a deal." For Putin, the meeting was an opportunity to project that Russia is not completely isolated from the West. He emerged from the summit in a notably conciliatory mood, praising the discussions as constructive and even inviting Trump to Moscow for a future round of talks. The absence of a breakthrough, however, quickly drew criticism. Ukrainian leaders expressed frustration at being excluded from direct participation in the summit. European officials warned that Russia must not be allowed to determine Ukraine's future, stressing that Kyiv retains the right to pursue both European Union and NATO membership. Despite the absence of an agreement, the symbolism of the meeting itself carried weight. For Trump, it was a chance to present himself as a deal-maker working to end a costly war. For Putin, it was proof to his supporters at home that he can still command a place on the world stage. Yet the reality on the ground remains unchanged. The war continues, with no ceasefire in place and no guarantee of peace on the horizon. What comes next will depend on follow-up talks. Trump has promised to speak directly with President Zelensky and to consult America's European allies before moving forward. Putin has suggested Moscow as the next venue. For now, the summit leaves the world with an image of two leaders standing side by side in Alaska, projecting optimism but leaving the hardest questions unanswered.